Sick. All right. Welcome to the podcast. Second time. I
Yeah.
was like, when your PR people reached out, I was like, I just had him on the podcast. And then I looked at the date and it was 2 years ago.
No way.
Yeah. I was like, fuck, that was way longer than I thought.
Me too. I thought it was sooner than that as well.
No,
That's
it
funny.
came out on YouTube 2 years ago.
Wow.
It felt
Classic.
like a couple of months ago, but yeah.
Yeah. Time flies, eh?
Yeah. But yeah, as I was just saying, I got my green card now, and yeah, the process was really long. I got denied twice and
Oh,
then
wow.
got it the third time. So I actually started going for it at the start of COVID, basically, like 2020.
Wow.
And yeah.
Had you been living over here for a while before COVID?
Yeah, I moved here in 2015, so I've been here since. So I started going for it in 2020, so 5 years after I started living here, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's a long process. And dude, the amount of shit they make you do for it is crazy. Like I had to get no shit, like 20 vaccines. Like
Wow.
you have to get a physical,
Yeah.
and for that physical, your vaccination record has to be good. Like you have to be vaccinated for everything. So like tuberculosis, Hep A, B, C, measles, mumps, rubella, all that shit. And you can get a blood test, I think, to find out what is already in your system, so you don't have to get those again, or you can just get them again. And I was like, the blood test was going to take fucking forever. They have to send your blood to like a mass spectrometer somewhere or something like that. And so yeah, I ended up just getting all the vaccines again, which was a lot of vaccines in one go.
Well, I guess they're trying to not have any issues once you're there or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they don't want you clogging up the medical system, I suppose. Don't want you to be a liability.
Yeah.
But yeah, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Yeah, just got a little bit of free time at the moment between touring and festivals and finishing albums and stuff like that. So I've actually been mountain biking and doing all the stuff that I haven't done for a long time, hanging out, having late nights, just like living life, which has been great. Yeah.
Nice. Where are you biking mostly in Denver? Is there good trails in the city, or do you have to travel for it?
No, I mean, there's some on the Front Range, which is like from our house, probably like between half an hour and 45 minutes drive. And then I go up to this, to Winter Park, which is Trestle Bike Park. So you get the gondola up and hit the downhill trails for a few hours until you're absolutely ruined and drive home. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half to get up there. Yeah, it's awesome. It's kind of like nothing I've ever experienced, you know. It's so set up, and just the opportunity to get a gondola to the trail is insane.
Yeah, that's rare. Usually have to ride up all the hill. You got an e-bike though, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and I'm really used to it. Actually, this morning I was looking at like getting a non-e-bike bike because I want that feeling again. But I'm actually so used to the weight in an e-bike, so even doing downhill on it, I mean, probably looks strange, but I love it because I grew up riding motocross, so it feels more like a motorbike, which is sick.
How heavy is your e-bike?
I think it's like 25 kilos, so like 50 pounds, 22 kilos or something. Yeah. It's kind of like maybe double a regular bike, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not too bad. I feel like there's some e-bikes that get up to like 80 pounds and shit.
Yeah, no. This feels, I mean, I'm so used to it now. I couldn't, you know, I mean, it's heavy when you're moving it around and lifting it on the back of the car, but honestly, I'm so used to it, and it feels like a bike when you're hurtling downhill, when you're not using the battery at all. And a lot of the time when I'm going riding through the Front Range, I'm kind of keeping the power on as low as I can to get as much fitness as I can anyway. So I'm sure I'm getting a bunch of help. It definitely makes it easier just to be like, I want to go for a ride today. Whereas if I have no power, I'm like, all right, how tired am I going to be? Like, some days I'm just too exhausted and I can't be fucked, and it gets me out more, which is probably the more reason I got it, because I want to do it more, you know.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. If I have power, it's like, okay, the option to turn pedal assist all the way up is there if I need it.
Yeah.
And it just kind of makes it seem slightly more appealing to go.
Yeah. And it's fun. I mean, it's all fun. I don't really care if someone wants to have one or not. It's more like just the ride is sick. It's so good for my mental health, and just makes me explore areas I've never been, you know. It's epic. Yeah.
Is your bike throttled or just pedal assist?
Nah, it's just pedal assist. You can't take the throttled ones on a lot of the parks, like especially the downhill parks, you're only allowed, I think it's like they're rated like 1, 2, and 3 or something. I think it's just rated as a 1 or whatever. And it's the bigger version. They have these smaller ones now where the battery, I think you can't take it out maybe, and you can't even really tell there's a motor. They only last a couple of hours. But they look kind of cool too because they just give you a tiny bit of help, but you're still getting a light bike to go downhill. And yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the one I've got. It's an Orbea M10, I think, or an M20. It's like 30 pounds, and it just looks like a normal bike. You can barely tell there's an engine on it at all.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's solid. I like it.
It just gets you a little bit more power going up, and then you can gun it down. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it like 15% easier, probably.
When I bought mine, I was the last one I had. I bought the same thing here again in Australia, and I was like riding like trails, for hours. It wasn't really downhill, uphill. It was just like long distances and through the forests and whatever. And so the bigger battery was pretty important because I was going pretty far. Didn't want to get lost and stuck, and But yeah, it's fun. Sick. Yeah.
When you moved from Australia to the US, did you ship your bike over, or did you sell your shit there and rebuy here?
No, it's really hard to ship batteries. It's even harder now than ever. You can, it's just really expensive, hazardous. Some people don't do it. Sometimes you can't even do it at all. It's like you can get your bike without a battery pretty easy, just with a service. Some airlines still take them without batteries. Maybe even Delta might even take it with a battery. I don't know, but most of them, the batteries are too big for one. And yeah, like United doesn't even take a powered bike without a battery anymore, or even if they did. So it's kind of like a hassle. You can either ship it without a battery, put a battery in it for a different place, or I don't know, I'm kind of missing the non-battery thing just to be able to chuck your bike on the plane. But yeah, inside America, it's awesome because there's heaps of services that they come pick it up, take it wherever you're going. It's pretty cheap. Yeah, it works well. But internationally, it's a pain. Yeah.
Is the reason they won't take the batteries on a plane just because, like, when you expose a battery to pressure or something, it's liable to explode?
Yeah, they probably, being a second-hand thing, don't know how damaged it is, like all those things. I was looking at the time, I'm pretty sure it had like a bag, and you fill it with the stuff that goes around it to stop it leaking, and then put it in the specific case, and then you've got to get the specific paperwork at each end. You can pay people to do it, but the whole process is just painful. And if you can afford it, I think it's probably $1,000 or something to buy a battery at each end, and if you're doing enough travel and you've got enough money, maybe that's worth it. But at the time I was just like, I'm just going to leave the bike here, and I ended up selling it to a friend anyway, and buying the same thing here. It was just easier. Yeah.
Did you do that with most of your stuff when you moved here?
No, we've got like a shed and shipping container and stuff full of stuff, like a whole bunch of stuff stored, storage unit, just because, timelines, family, you never know how long you're going to be anywhere. It was easier, and we just, mostly reset ourselves up here, which is nice and fresh. The kids are in school and things like that, and they kind of grow fast as well. They grow out of their stuff pretty quick, so shipping a whole bunch of personal items that they're not even going to want to have in 2 months' time, Likewise with us, it's like you just power through life, and your hobbies change, and yeah, when you move overseas, it's kind of a good opportunity to really think about what you're actually really into.
Totally, yeah. You can kind of be a little more minimalist and get rid of all the shit that you never really cared about in the first place. And
totally.
Yeah.
No,
your kids got American accents yet?
Tyler does. She's just turned 6. She definitely does. Hey, Mom.
No.
Yeah, I'm 19. Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's you and Najee, or Najee's Australian, you're New Zealand, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you both have the normal accent. Well, normal.
We're normal, man. Fucking normal. Yeah. I know. I don't think mine goes up and down in pitch depending on how excited I am. I think I sound more Australian when I get really excited. Yeah.
I found being around Nash, my Australian accent's gotten a little thicker again.
Yeah.
For those listening, Nash Goosebumps just moved into my house. He won the fucking diversity visa lottery, lucky cunt.
Yeah. It's insane.
It is.
That's like instant green card, isn't it?
Yep. Well, I think every area in the world gets an allotment of these diversity visas per year. So, Oceania might be allotted like 20,000 of them, and then Asia is allotted like, X amount and
Right.
whatever. And so I think Oceania is a pretty good region to do it, whereas, some of the countries, maybe like in Africa or in Eastern Europe, where people are maybe lining up to try and get out of there, maybe it's a little more competitive to get one of these things. But yeah, it's not instant. I mean, you still have to go through the process, but
I remember him saying it was like a year or so, right? Like from first interview all the way through. Yeah.
Yeah, still has to get all the vaccines, still has to like go to the interview, do the biometrics, all of that stuff. But yeah, it's makes it a lot easier than having to go through the
he's got a particularly good I think he's from like New South Wales or Coffs Harbour, isn't he? He's got a particularly good Australian accent.
Yeah, it's definitely thicker than mine for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, g'day, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
You miss Australia, or are you stoked living here?
I like, yeah, I do. I miss both worlds, I like both 50-50 really. Like I miss my friends in certain places, and then I love like the things I get to do here, and, the new relationships I have. And we've definitely built an awesome group of friends, which I love. And yeah, but I miss family, things like that. It's just, it's kind of like an adventure, right? Like that's what life is. And so you just go out and try and fill yourself up with it. And that's what we're trying to do here, get as much of it as we can, enjoy ourselves, and so we're not sitting there missing home as much.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's a lot of shit to do here for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we should talk about your album so your PR people don't get angry. Dude, this happens so many times. Like I'll have a friend on and they're like, we want to talk about their new album or their new whatever, and we just end up having a conversation for an hour, and then the PR people get kind of mad. But,
yeah. I mean, you're on the album.
I am on the album. Yeah. Okay.
How does it feel to be on the album?
Oh, good. Yeah.
No, it comes out.
Like I said in my posts when I was, posting about it, it's crazy to get to collab with you because, back in the day I was trying to like imitate your sound when I first got into sort of polyrhythmic electronic music. I was into psytrance, and then I found your stuff and Tipper's stuff and started trying to make that stuff. And yeah, it just feels validating, I guess, to work with you now.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a fan of yours for a while too. So I thought it was good. It was cool how naturally it happened. Had we tried something before, or was that the first one? That was the first one, right?
I think I might have sent you something before that you never worked on, but
I think so.
This was the first proper go I think we'd had. Yeah,
it was cool too because it wasn't like a traditional style song with either of us had done really, or me anyway. It was fun. It was cool because like. Yeah, I forget how long I've done it for too, I forget. I still meet people and they like tell me a story about when they first were listening to music and I got them into a certain style or whatever. And then I still feel like I'm just doing it, like it hasn't been 20 years or whatever. It's kind of crazy.
You can never clock music, no matter how long you work on it for. I feel like you can never fully master it.
Not a chance. It changes. Yeah. You change a lot. Like, it's so subjective as well because you really do grow through life. If you thought the same thing 20 years later sounded or felt the same, then you haven't grown at all. Yeah.
True. How do you feel like you've evolved musically over the years?
I don't even know. I just feel like I kind of soak up where I am and in life, just, probably who I am, where I am, geographically where I am, like having kids. All those things impact, and I look at it differently. I think there would have been periods of time where I wouldn't have taken in what was actually going on, or the success or something that might have been happening at the time. Whereas I think as you get older, you have more perspective looking at it. But I still honestly just make whatever I want. I don't have any I don't have any destination or a sound or a if I make this, I want to be able to get to here because of this song or anything. I'm just I just want to make this sound, and that's what I'm doing today, and tomorrow will be something different. And yeah, I think maybe I used to just spend more time touring, going to festivals, and that's how I was soaking it in. And now I get more time to probably look at it from the outside and in the bigger picture and think about what I want to make. But yeah, you probably just grow with skill and technique and things like that. But I don't think it's ever better or worse. I was really lucky. Like the first stuff I put out, I just stumbled into a sound, I guess, and sonically it worked well. And, I've been half deaf for 20 odd years. So I never really had this like perfect listening scape to pull from. And I just found a sound and went with it. And it turned out to sound good on the majority of PAs and all that kind of stuff. So like when I listen back to my old music, I still reference it sometimes, which is foreign for some people to have, a timeline of you can hear how much better they get at producing or, things like that, which, yeah, I found like the first stuff I did had a cleanliness, but its own kind of rawness that I still reference. And I don't know, I still kind of get off on that sound as well.
So when you started producing music, could you hear out of both ears?
I mean, I first wrote my first song on a computer in like, I don't know, like very early 2000s, I'd say. I can't even remember the first, maybe 2001 or something. I was using Reason, might have even been the first version of Reason. And actually the very first thing I ever made was like a bunch of remember that little audio player? It was before the Windows Media Player and you could have a bunch of different things. It was literally just one.
It was a Winamp?
It was like, yeah, but Winamp didn't have like Winamp. You could have a bunch of different tracks in one window. This thing, it was just one window. It was one song. It was like you couldn't have multiples. And it was like maybe the late 90s. I can't remember exactly. And I'd just play a bunch of them and have them timed and I'd record it on a tape player. But then, yeah, I got Reason. And I probably could hear better then, but it's always been less in my left ear. And I was making some songs, maybe one or two a year until like 2007, I think. And that's when I had my first major surgery on my ear and lost whatever I had left, basically. It's like negative 30 or 40 dB across the board on one side. So I never notice it because nothing's ever that much difference, in level, but there's something there, but I just can't hear it. If I'm, right now, it just sounds like I'm talking in my head when I have headphones on.
Hey, post-editing Bill here. Just a quick correction. During the podcast, Opiuo mentioned his bad ear being about 30 to 40 dB down, but according to his audiogram, it's actually more like 60 to 100 dB of hearing loss. For context, 30 to 40 dB is about the difference between somebody whispering to you and you having a normal conversation. You would still hear it, it's just softer. But 60 dB is the volume of someone talking right in front of you, and 100 dB is closer to a jackhammer or standing right next to some loudspeakers at a show. So when you lose 60 to 100 dB, it's not just a little bit quieter. It's basically the difference between being able to hear people talking and not hearing a motorcycle engine revving a few feet away from your head. So yeah, his hearing loss on that side is a lot more significant than it might have sounded when he described it here.
Yeah, I think I probably had a little bit of hearing. Then after that, I didn't. But in a way, it might have encouraged me to just go for it and maybe trust the feeling of the sound. And I used to just stick my finger on stick something in front of the tweeter, stick my thumb on the driver on the speaker and just kind of feel it out. Okay, there's the relationship, and start to gain some sort of confidence with that. And then just had this little room in Melbourne, and it sounded amazing when you sat at the back of the room. It sounded just like perfect. So I just started trusting these, like, the old KRK Rockets 6s, and was referencing my own stuff at that point and just starting to be like, okay, I like this sound. And when I'd hear something else, it was, I'd pick the things I didn't like. But because I didn't have that, maybe the full hearing, I just started trusting what I felt like it should be. And yeah, so no, I never really had great hearing ever since I was a kid,
And are you completely deaf in one ear now, or is it, like you said, about 30 or 40 dB?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look at the chart. I got a hearing test maybe a year ago, and it's like, the chart's here, my normal ear's here, and the other one's like somewhere down here. if I'm walking along a street and someone says hello on my bad ear and it bounces off a wall on my good ear, I'll turn to that way. I won't hear them say it. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't hear any of the, especially in the speech frequencies, it's like way down. It's a little bit in the low, mid kind of range, but that's pointless if you're talking to someone. So I've just got used to turning my head. My body's adapted. I'm sure if I got hearing in that ear, my brain would just freak out.
Yeah. Do you reckon your brain has like compensated really well for that? And because I mean, your music has like really fucking nice stereo image and everything.
Yeah, I've always placed speakers kind of wide too, so I can sit inside them and place my head back. That seemed to have helped. And never, it's always been approximately the triangle kind of thing, but sometimes I end up being a bit wider, so I have to really pull myself back to kind of get a spectrum. But yeah, I think honestly, your brain definitely adapts. I just turn my head in a certain way. I sit a certain place on a table. When I'm out at dinner, I can't sit with my good ear against the wall. I have to have it the other way around, and just like things like that. So I physically changed the way I live. But in terms of music, it just comes back to like, so I very rarely will use any type of metering, because it like kind of triggers me a little bit, because I'm like, that's not what I feel like I'm hearing. Maybe it is the actual frequency going on, but it's like when you can hear a little bit of distortion, but sometimes it's tasty. It's like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And so if generally it feels right, and you could check something, making sure a certain frequency isn't freaking out too much, but otherwise, yeah, I think you should just trust what you got and what the feeling it gives you.
Yeah, ideally. But yeah, I think you're right. You can get a lot of anxiety from hearing little clicks and shit and stuff that realistically aren't going to matter in 99% of cases. And yeah, when you're looking at metering, sometimes it can look a bit unwieldy, even though it probably sounds fine. And
you probably look at a meter of your favorite song from the 60s and 70s and it's terrible, but you've never noticed that, like it's like when you've never told someone. And I think I think sound is like, it is subjective to a point. Like having just a ton of 6K peak and that's all your song is, that's just going to hurt people's ears. It's very different. And it's also about what else is going on. If the whole frequency range is up here and everything is going, then a little bit of a peak here is not going to feel so much. But if it's a giant difference, but I think, yeah, I don't know, people should just trust what they. That's the thing with music. I think it's just all about confidence, right? Like, I feel like this is done.
Managing anxiety as well, I think, to some degree, because like I always am feeling like I'm having to balance what I think could be good for my career and what I can play at a show versus what I truly want to make versus what I think some people are going to enjoy on Spotify. And it feels like this big balancing act. And I feel like if I just had none of that anxiety and just did exactly what I want to do, maybe it would be ultimately way better for everything, like my career,
Probably.
the way I feel about it, everything.
Yeah.
But it also may not be. And I feel like, yeah, balancing all of those anxieties for me is been a massive, like, that's the skill I've got to build, kind of.
For sure. I mean, I think about it sometimes when I'm working on a project, whether it's an album or a big orchestra show or something, I feel like I honestly try and think, like, in 10 years' time, would I be proud of this thing? And sometimes, a few years later, I'm like, oh, probably wouldn't have done it like that, and other times I'm like, shit, I'm really proud of that now, but at the time I can't see that, I can't see the merit or the, when you finish an album, sometimes you just don't want to listen to it at all. And sometimes all you want to do is listen to it. It varies a lot, but I understand that anxiety for sure.
What are some things that you think you notice about like your earlier music, stuff you made 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that stands out to you now? And what are some things that you think you would do differently now?
I don't think I'd do anything differently. I think it was a perfect moment in time of what I was enjoying and doing and wanting to adapt all the different genres of music I liked into something that was mine. I definitely stumbled into it. It wasn't like a purposeful, I'm going to go and do this kind of thing. I loved how simple it was. I loved being okay with leaving it simple. I think there's a skill in keeping stuff simple, which I sometimes probably lose myself, especially nowadays when I have maybe more skill or more ability to use certain things. I end up layering things just so much, and sometimes I probably wish I could pull it back in that moment. But yeah, I think maybe I would, I don't know, there's just ways of mixing things that I might change. But like I said, I think it suited the style of music, you know.
Yeah, I was actually listening to, I can't remember, was it Physical Symptoms, the EP with the green cover?
Yeah.
The green circle thing. Yeah, I was listening to that with Nash actually on the way to Huntsville this weekend to go see Tipper, and yeah, it still stands up. It's good. Still good songs.
Like I said, I don't know how I figured out I guess it was like, you know, because sometimes you're like, oh, is it loud enough? Is the kick big enough? Is the sub big enough? And I'm still to this day picking out things. Oh, it is, it isn't. And then obviously when the song's left your computer, it sounds great to whoever listens to it because they're not referencing anything. But that old stuff, I feel like I had less concern about it. I was like, this sounds good, sweet. I was so much quicker at moving on. And I'm sure some of it is lighter in this low end and some of it's heavier, but it never really mattered, you know. It was it suited the music. And maybe having all that space in it too gave it a lot more ability to be varying quite a lot.
Are there any techniques or tools that you used early in your career that you're kind of returning to now, or anything that you think you've abandoned?
I used to limit with a bit crusher in Logic.
Which one? The Logic bit crusher? Mm-hmm. So you would just, on your master, make it become a fixed point, like 16-bit thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's actually kind of smart.
Full quality, and I'd put it on and I'd maybe drive it, maybe half a dB, maybe a dB maximum. And I felt like Logic, because at the time when I was using Logic, I didn't like the sound of Ableton. I felt like at the earlier days, I could hear its tone or something. And I liked the feeling I'd come from Reason and then into some Pro Tools work when I was working in audio and then into Logic, and it felt like I was on a desk, you know. You could push the channel, it wouldn't peak out. I think Ableton might have distorted earlier back in the day, which now it's not a thing, but I think Ableton sounds great. But it's like, I think that kind of, yeah, I think it almost sounded tiny bit analog, even though it was completely digital and it had a really digital edge. For me, maybe it was just a feeling I had, but it felt like it kind of softened it tiny bit, you know, and just gave it a little bit of drive, and that's all I'd use to balance my songs. It's just this tiny bit of drive that would happen at the last stage. I'd always have it on. I'd always produce with the kick drum as loud as I needed. It was always like I was never mixing later on, mastering later on. It was all writing straight in. I've always done that. Yeah. And things I might have returned to. I actually dug up an old Logic session and was using Camel Fat. Do you remember Camel Fat?
Yeah,
Dude,
it's
that
good.
thing was so good. I loved it a lot. Do you think there's an equivalent today that's just like it? I found I've made sounds like it, but I've used so many different things to get there, and Saturn and like whatever the distortion unit. But I found like Camel Fat was my favorite thing for a long time.
Yeah, maybe like Kelvin or Unisum, or I don't know, Trash 2 maybe. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
You could probably do some similar stuff with that. But yeah, Camel Fat definitely has like its own old, like kind of shitty in some ways, but it's like some certain quality to it.
I used to have it set where it would be like the compressor would kick in and then it would only let it breathe in the top of the bass as it would kind of get out after the kick, and it would like just give it this like, and it was always moving. It was like you never got the same sound. Every bounce you did was always different. I loved it because it just gave the song life, it wasn't stuck.
Yeah, I think I often find that when I stem stuff down, it kind of loses some of that movement. Like you don't have that kind of breathing between all of the devices. Like you lose some of that like magic in the time domain a little bit.
It was like when we were bouncing our song out and you were sending different mastered versions, and they all looked so different in the wave, which I like.
Yeah,
I love that.
They all sound basically the same though.
Totally. But I just love I love the imperfections in music. I love, even though I'm trying to make it as perfect as I can, when I let it go, it still feels there's always something, which I like.
Yeah. What you were saying before about Ableton sounding worse was actually a thing. I just had Andrew Simper on the podcast like a month ago or something, and he's from Perth actually, and he I think it was around Live 9 or something, like completely revamped their EQ, because it used to have this thing where when you would cut lows,
it was
would
Live
actually,
8 that was that I didn't like, and Live 9 changed everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was all because of Andrew Simper's EQ.
No way.
And because if you think about it, the EQ is used fucking everywhere. Like on the sidechain compressor input, that's the Ableton EQ. On like anything that has a filter on it, like the delay filter, that's the Ableton EQ. And so they replaced them all with Andrew Simper's one. And it was actually because he developed the glue compressor, and he was like, I don't even want your EQ to be the sidechain input on my compressor. So he also helped him fix the EQ. But yeah, it did have some problems where you would cut and it would actually add rumble and all sorts of stuff like that. So
it had like an elastic sound to it. I thought it was kind of like it would lose both ends, and then it would sort of feel like it was moving a little bit. And I would sometimes try and replicate the same thing when I was, a lot of people were saying you should try Ableton, even you being one of them. Back then it was like, I liked watching videos of people using it and all these different skills you could use. And what I loved about Logic was just the sound. And sometimes it was harder to get somewhere, but I was trying to replicate the same thing in both, and it never came out the same at all. I have no idea about now. I've used Ableton for a long time, but yeah, I actually, funny you ask, I was thinking the other day, like I'd like to write a song in Logic again, just to see what would happen, especially at these stages after finishing an album and having a long process doing that and working on projects like Red Rocks for orchestral stuff. I kind of want to just use something different. Actually, I had a one of those I've just completely forgotten the name of the synth. It is the Orchid. The Orchid, the chord.
Tom Cosm's thing.
Tom Cosm's thing. He just sent me one. It just arrived. Oh, you do? Sick. Yeah, the box is upstairs. I haven't opened it yet, and I'm going to, and it's like the perfect day for it to arrive. I'm just going to start new music,
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like with your left hand, you hold down modifier keys, and then on your right hand, you press things, and it makes chords and shit. Yeah, it seems like a really useful MIDI device for coming up with chord progressions and arps. And
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I'm actually pretty simple in what I use, and inside the box. It's very simple. Having spent time traveling overseas and moving overseas, I have to simplify everything. Only synth I managed to bring over was my Prophet 6 outboard, but everything else is in the box, and just having these little tools. And yeah, I think, I like to branch out every now and then and just like revisit the old things. So you've inspired me. I'm going to make something in Logic just to see what happens.
Yeah, you should. I notice when I sometimes will open Bitwig and mess around in there, which doesn't feel too foreign. It's basically Ableton with some extra things and minus some things. And I definitely find even with something as similar as Ableton, just the way it looks and where it puts things just influences you to do certain things. If you think about music as like a chain reaction process, like something happens that triggers a thought in you, you do a thing, and then that triggers another thought in you, and it's like this input-output thing. It's like simple things, just like the GUI or where they keep things can influence decisions a lot, I think.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Max Ashes was asking me if he should switch to Ableton, and I was just talking about that. It's like it's workflow. Whatever you get used to, it's a sound. If your sound is super attached to a software, then maybe stick with it. But I don't know. I think nothing's forever. You gotta try it all.
Totally. Was it tough to switch from Logic to Ableton? How long do you think it took for you to become fluent?
Well, no, because I was performing in Ableton the whole time. Still do. I think we even talked about the switch to CDJs, which I've been thinking about doing. And now that Show Control is just so amazing to be able to control everything else, lasers, lights, which I program in, video and pixel bar content for big shows, that all comes from MIDI inside Ableton. But yeah, I was already using it, so that switch wasn't that hard. The hardest part was just getting the sound, being comfortable and okay, or finding how to get to that same point, not having those same tools. I think that was the hardest bit. But no, I don't think it was particular. I actually probably wrote more music in the first couple of months of using Ableton than I had in years, you know.
Because it was like inspiring to use a new program.
Inspiring and fast, and you know, just the way you can manipulate audio really quickly, and it was just I really like learning keys, you know, like shortcuts, and so I was just like, that's all I did for a week, and then I still think it is really, really inspiring. When I look at it, I'm inspired by it, you know.
Yeah, it's weird because when you look at Ableton, it looks like shit. It looks like a spreadsheet.
I kind of like that.
So do I. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's like it's kind of shitty looking, but it when I look at it too, I see possibilities.
Totally. Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, yeah. No, I like it. Yeah.
What's your process look like when you're trying to break out of a creative rut?
Go writing, do something else. True. Yeah, if I have the time, I'll try and do something else. If I don't have the time, I might go back and listen to old music. Sometimes that can be inspiring. I listen to other people's music. I listen to non-electronic music sometimes. I try and remove my mind from being technical and just think about what feeling am I trying to get. Sometimes I just write something else as well. Like a genre that I'll never release, or, you know, just something that is totally different. But I've learned probably over the years not to force it, you know. I'll go do something else. Often that's the first thing I'll do. It doesn't necessarily help. Sometimes it's not the healthiest thing. Sometimes it is, you know. It's like, it's never really, I feel like I'm in projects whenever I'm doing anything. I'm doing an orchestra, I'm doing an album, I'm doing a tour, so I have a defined thing. I think if I had no like goal of where I was going, it'd be harder. But then right now I'm in this stage where I finished a ton of music. I've got a lot of music I want to write. I feel really inspired because I don't have anything that has to get done. You know, for the first time this year, I've got nothing that I have to finish today. You know, and that's inspiring. I think, yeah. And I know, like, I mean, you know what it's like. You go through waves, you nearly burn out, you have burnouts, you do all of those things, and it all comes back around. So, yeah, when I'm in the middle of a bit of a burnout or a bit of a non-inspired stage, I know now that it's just a phase, you know, it'll come back. It can take a couple of months, it can take a long time sometimes.
Yeah, I've kind of gotten to the same point as well. There would be points back in the day, because music is pretty much all I do. I mean, there's not much other things that I do with my life. And then when I start to feel burnt out on music and I have no ideas and I'm like, well, fuck, what do I do now? Like, I would have these full-blown like existential crisis type moments. But yeah, I've kind of gotten to the same point where I realize it's just like a wave now. You go through creative seasons, kind of, you know. Sometimes it's just you get the winter when you didn't think you were going to get it, and then it's all fucking flowers.
It never happens when you think, ever.
Yeah,
which is, I guess, there's a silver lining in there somewhere, you know. Like, you've got to take it. It's not fun. I still hate it when I'm not inspired, and I get down and hate everything I'm making, you know, all those kind of same things. And then you come through it and you might enjoy it a lot more. Maybe that's a way of being able to, you know, critique it in a different way, have a different mind. Sometimes not healthy, but sometimes it's yeah, I don't know. I think for me it's I've nearly spent half my life doing this, you know, like turned 40 last year, and I'm still super grateful that it's even a thing I do. So sometimes I'm just like, all right, if I'm not feeling it today, but like, look what my life is, you know, and I actually get a moment to reflect. I try to anyway. It's really important to sit still and reflect on where you are and stuff. Yeah,
I also find like getting creative work done is it's non-intuitive sometimes. Like, for example, I could sit here for 3 days banging my head against the wall and get like nothing done that I'm happy with, or I could take a break for 2 days, do something else, and then come back and on day 3 have something finished by the end of the day. So it's like the same amount of time in both cases, but in one case I stressed myself out for 3 days and got nothing done, and in the other case I spent 2/3 of my time doing not music, and then that 1/3 of time doing music equaled a finished thing.
That's definitely how it is, for sure. That's how it is for me all the time. Yeah, And actually, in the end, I go back 17 versions and finish that one, and it's perfect. You know, it's great for the moment. It's yeah, that's funny.
Do you write more, you think, for the live experience, or do you write more for people listening in headphones, or like what do you
Yeah,
like? Whenever I'm writing, I always feel like there's like a context in which I'm writing it, like an ideal context in which it's supposed to be enjoyed. And what is that context for you mostly?
I would say mostly it's live because, you know, playing 99.9% my own music, you know, occasionally I'll sprinkle someone else's tune in that I really like at the time, but most of the time it's my music solely. It has been the whole time. I feel like, you know, I need to have a moment in the set that does something, and so I'll start writing towards that. And then when I want to finish it to release it, I think about the listener. Most of the time, yeah, it's built purely around a live experience. I've played a sunrise set at Secret Dreams a couple of months ago, and it was amazing because like my main set got rained out. You know, 8 minutes in, the storm hit, and then kind of been so bummed out about that. I had all this new music I wanted to play, then got to do this much lower pressure show at sunrise where, you know, it's actually a really special moment for so many people, and it became so powerful. And playing a lot of down tempo music I never get to play was amazing, and kind of re-inspired me to think about the listener first, you know, for some down tempo music that I want to make and release, and very seldom do you get to play it. So that's been cool because I think I want to do some things where I think about a pure, you know, a release song that I won't actually play out. Whereas this album is like purely stuff I've made for the dance floor, or the finishing of my set, or the middle of the set, or whatever, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to find the right context live for down-tempo music. Like, there's obviously you can play bangers in any club any night of the week, kind of, but down-tempo is like, where do you even do that? Like, you can do it at a tip a night maybe, or maybe you could book out a planetarium and do it there or something. I don't know.
I think as well, like, yeah, I mean, it's contrast too, isn't it? Like, you know, if people have seen you play 10 times in the last couple of years, bangers, and they know you might make the other thing, and they appreciate your sonic palette that is probably going to come with it. I think there's nothing more exciting than hearing the other side as well, you know. I would like to do more of it. I think you're right, though. It's harder to find an outlet, and often you've got to survive, you've got to feed the family, you've got to pay the bills, you've got to go play the gigs, you know. Where does it sell the most tickets, you know? To be able to survive, and doing pure down tempo might take some time to transition, but I think there's an appetite for it, and I mean, I'm inspired for it for sure.
And doing the orchestra shit would be perfect for that, I feel like.
Yeah, well, actually, the moments that I get to bring it right down, you know, and play that mellow stuff is more what people remember a lot of the time. Yeah.
How's the orchestra stuff going, by the way? Did you do it again recently?
Yeah, I did it. Last one was in May.
Okay, how'd that go?
It was amazing. It was my favorite one personally. I've told many people before, I think it was the first one I actually got to really enjoy. A lot of the time standing there on stage, you don't get to take it in, you don't get to appreciate the thing that you've maybe created, and all the people that have worked on it, and, you know, feel everything that's going on all at once, and all the different people that could get completely out of control sticking together. And it looked and felt how I wanted it to. And, you know, at one point I climbed out of the structure, and stood and looked at the crowd. As I turned around, and I got to see a quick second of what it actually looks like from the, you know, and so I actually got to enjoy it for that 10 seconds, you know, purely separate from it. And I think musically it was, for me, my most favorite as well. And, you know, so much time and energy and money, and you spend everything you earn, and just everything goes into it, and to come away from it like at the, you know, and when I finished, my family came on stage and got in the family photo, and my parents and my kids and wife and everything. So it was like, it was, yeah, a good accumulation of everything I've done over the last 7 years of orchestra stuff.
Yeah, I've only seen it once, but the time I saw it was fucking sick. Does it change the way or challenge the way maybe that you write music, knowing that like this could potentially have to be played by an orchestra at some point?
I don't think it changes the way I write the music at the time. It's pretty cool to think about it, like adapting it from one thing to the other when I'm doing the orchestra. That gets really exciting. I do have a desire to make some orchestral music, like actually write the songs for the orchestra, instead of trying to adapt things that exist electronically. But no, I don't think it changes the way I write music now. But I know there's potential to expand on it all the time, and in live settings, and even as simple as sometimes I have like a little keyboard on stage, and I'll just have a bunch of patches that I can bring up, and I know if I hold a section for a little bit longer, I can loop something, and I can add some strings live. I know it adds a lot of depth, so I think for the live performance, it really changes the way I think about it. And then other times I'm playing a festival for an hour, late night, banging headline set. I don't have as much time, I don't think anyway, to separate that. But maybe a headline show, I've got all the time in the world.
What do you think the most surprising thing is? Like, what was the thing that surprised you the most about working with an orchestra?
I think the first thing was how extremely excited they were to do it.
True.
Yeah, they were stoked. It was like they knew my music, or they didn't know my music, or they did it once. Like a lot of the people in the last orchestra were in the first one we ever did, and they've come back time and time again and wanted to do it, and they're just so stoked, and really enjoy the adaptation of what they normally do, and I guess being creative in a way that maybe they hadn't experienced. And I'm always trying to think of ways, or even just instruments. I work with this amazing guy, Tom Hageman, to compose it, and he arranges it. We pick the instruments together and really dive into every section about where we want it to go, how we want it to feel and sound. And it's kind of like a good lesson in letting go as well. You walk on stage and you've got 20, 25 people that are completely out of your control. So that's a lesson. That's quite a weird feeling.
Is it the kind of thing you have to do rehearsals for? I know that when I was chatting with Deadmau5, he was like, yeah, I just had this dude chart all my music, and then we brought it into the orchestra and they just played it perfectly the first time. Like, that's just what they do.
Yeah, we do one rehearsal, so we run it twice, to give everyone, we don't normally finish writing it until the week of or so. And so they'll spend the next few days before the show. I think that's so good that there isn't much more they can do than run it a couple of times, run it themselves. I give them the backing track, or I give them, the actual full songs, or, whatever I'm going to be running off as well, minus all their parts and all my parts, and they play, through it all, and you just have to trust that they're as good as they are, Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like, what a skill, just sight reading, all that.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, like Deadmau5 was saying, is like they just played the entire, I think it was called Where's the Drop album. They played the entire thing, and he was like, it's perfect. And he's like, you want to do it again just for, have another take? And he was like, no, that's fine. Yeah, wow.
No, totally. Yeah, well, the first one we ever did, I think some people played it the first time through in 2018 at the rehearsal, and we were going to do 2 run-throughs. We did the second one, and some just left because they were like, we're good, we know it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I like it too because it's such a different world, and I have so much
They're probably
respect.
like, this shit is just so simple for them.
Yeah, I mean, some of it's not, some of it is. Definitely, some of it definitely is. Just certain hits. But I think for them, getting a chance to sit on a stage like that and have a crowd react to what they're doing in such a high energy way, is a cool experience,
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, most of the gigs they play are probably like people sitting and in suits and shit or something.
But yeah, it's cool. Like, I go to orchestras as much as I can. I think it's such a powerful medium of music, or style of music, that you sit in a room and there's no amplification, or maybe a tiny bit, but this, the hall sounds incredible. It's all so delicate. Everyone's got their little place. Some people only play for 18 seconds in an hour performance, but it's like, it's all there. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's like a 60-point sound system. If there's no amplification, you got sound coming from the yeah. I still have never been to a proper orchestra show before. I really should though.
When are you coming? Are you coming to town for long for Red Rocks?
Yeah, I'll be there for a week before.
We should try and hit one. I'll see if I can get us some tickets.
I'm down. Yeah, 100%. I would love that.
No, they're really supportive here. I do really like that about this city and being in Denver. Like everyone from the people who run the hall to people who run the orchestra, they're all so, into what people are doing creatively, which is really cool. And then all the musicians are all, whether they're in the symphony or not, everyone's just so, I don't know, they seem really open to everything, which is really cool.
Nice. Yeah, I would love to do that if that's possible.
I'll write a note. You can text me and remind me.
All right, sounds good.
I'll see what's on.
I'll be with Funny too. Have you met Funny?
I think so in the UK.
Okay.
Maybe with the Cohen Sound guys or the Inspected guys, maybe back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think we.
Yeah, he's flying over to do the visuals for the Red Rocks show.
Sweet. Fuck yeah.
Would you ever want to get into like scoring films or writing music in a more classical narrative type structure?
Yeah, I mean, I'd never say no. I'd give it a go. I think I would still need someone to work on the composition side and the arrangement side, because I'm not as skilled in charting things. I mean, I know you can write and have it in MIDI and it be spat out as charts, but I think working alongside someone, I really like that relationship of, hey, I want it to actually go kind of here, and I can read the charts now. But I'm just, I think working with the right person on the right film would be amazing. Yeah. I'd love it.
Yeah. It seems like it'd be kind of fun to do. What do you class as a perfect show? Like, do you ever get off stage and be like, that show was perfect, I wouldn't have changed a thing?
I mean, for myself, just, I think going into it feeling, I think feeling like the crowd is there for the right reasons and it sounds amazing. It's in a beautiful setting and you get to, there's like the feeling of like what you're about to do is exactly what you want to do, and then doing it and feeling like people are able to take it in and appreciate it, and then you feel like you did it in a perfect way. It's very seldom do I walk off, probably because I've spent most of my energy too, so my brain isn't even able to be like, all right, sweet, that was amazing. Like I actually am just like, oh, okay, I just have to take a second to breathe it in. But yeah, I think maybe the bigger the show gets, or the more amazing the place is, or the more technical you're trying to do, there's so many variables that you can't actually comprehend how it was perceived out the front. So I think for being on stage, I really enjoyed the last Red Rocks because I felt like I had the best time there, and I'm sure there was things that were perfect and weren't perfect, and that's actually what makes a live performance incredible. When I go see something, I do like to know it's live just a little bit and feel like the experience is, amazing. But then I go to an orchestra and it's absolutely perfect, and I'm just blown away by how 90 people can be in sync, So I don't know. I think it's all very different, but for me, it would be the ability to do all my styles of music in one in a perfect setting. Sounds amazing and play it perfectly.
Are you doing a lot of shows these days? Like how often are you on the road these days?
Yeah, I've got a break right now for like a month or two. I think I go back on in a month, do another half a dozen festivals or so, and then I start an album tour. And I'm going to have a lot of shows. But no, I think I do less than I used to. I clocked 100 shows a few times in a year.
Damn.
And I won't do that again.
It's a lot, yeah.
It was too much, man. I was traveling a lot too. I was flying all around the world doing it. I wouldn't, I don't wish to have not done it. Like, I think it was an incredible experience, and I'm really glad I did it. To know where my boundary might be just for energy, I want to give everyone everything every night. And at a certain point, you just can't, and you don't even know where you are. You wake up in the bus and you're somewhere else, and that's not giving everyone everything. And now it's actually planned out a bit, more like there's a chunk. All right, we need to have a couple of weeks break because that's just not doable, And I see people out there touring their ass off, and I respect to them because it takes a lot. It's a lot of energy.
What are your strategies on the road for trying to kind of manage your energy and your physical and emotional health?
Not partying, just being really aware that you're there to do the thing you're there to do, and to, I guess, finish and say hi to the fans and say hi to everyone in the thing, and do it, and then as soon as you're ready to go, try and go get some sleep and eat as healthy as you can, and all the ideal things that sometimes are really hard to do, but I think mostly it's like, I think it's just enjoying what you're doing. Like, if you're out there and you're playing, you're standing in front of people that you don't think it's the appropriate place to play your music, or you feel you've been forced into something just because of whatever reason, you've got to personally want to be standing there on stage. And I think that changes everything. You can play a lot more shows if you're standing there really into what you're doing, or really confident or proud or whatever it is. I think you don't burn out nearly as much. But if you're standing there being like, why am I here? Like, this doesn't make sense to me. And you've made the decision to be there. That can just feel like a burnout,
Yeah, totally. What's a question that you wish interviewers would ask you but never do?
I don't have one of those.
All right, fair enough.
What's something you want to ask me that you never did?
I've asked you all the things.
I know you have.
I think I have, anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No? I haven't got anything. I think, This ride it's so personal, it's so different, and there's so many people that do it in such different ways. There's no answer. There's no answer to making music. There's no answer to how something should sound, how you should do it. It's, there's going to be people that come along and do it in a new way all the time. And I think that's awesome, inspiring.
Yeah, totally. Where can people listen to your new album, and when does it come out?
I think it's coming out on the 19th of September.
Okay, so a couple of weeks.
Yeah, when does this come out?
I don't know, it's September 3rd now, probably a week or two. So it'll probably come out either just before or just after.
Okay. Yeah. As dates of releases get moved around and everything gets changed as much as it needs to. But yeah, the 19th of September was what I was told, and I think we're announcing that date this week. And yeah, it'll be everywhere that your music is. Vinyl will come.
Are you self-releasing?
No, it's on Compass Records.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, which is great. It's just a few extra hands that I've self-released for so long, and sometimes it's nice to, just get a bit of help with it.
Yeah, it is a lot, especially when there's a lot of collabs. There's a lot of accounting, a lot of payouts to a lot of different people. And I know there's some platforms that kind of help with that these days. And also a lot of contracts and
The one, which actually we've got to send you a contract.
Yep. That track's already out.
You fucked now. No, it's like there's a lot of ones that do actually, a lot of distribution now will, they will provide literally instant payouts to any collaborator on the thing, whatever you put in the back end. So you don't actually need to do any accounting in that sense.
Yeah, I feel like some of the crypto shit probably has a use case here.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like like NFTs, smart contracts, that kind of thing. But I feel like the crypto space is just so fucking grotty. There's just so many scammers. And
I mean, yeah, it's like something I got into not super early on, but early on enough, and then I just haven't looked at it again, really. I've got lots of friends who are heavily invested in it and spend a lot of time with it and love it. I guess I just don't have the time or the passion right now. Yeah, I think it's great. But
yeah, the underlying technology is awesome. But
it's fascinating and amazing,
the culture around it is kind of weird.
Yeah. Did you get into it back in the day?
Yeah, I got into it in like 2017 or something like that.
Yeah, it's when I did too.
Yeah. And then, and then I sold everything and I haven't gotten back into it. I just, I very quickly was like, there's no way for me to be happy in that space. Either I'm like,
it's stressful.
It went up, and I was like, fuck, I should have put more in, and I'm not happy. Or I lose money, and I'm like, fuck, shouldn't have put that in, and I'm not happy. It's like, I just can't be happy either way with that stuff.
You have to like get it and turn it off and just not look at it, and maybe it goes somewhere and put enough in that it's going to do something, but not enough that it, is so stressful to lose. And it's like, I can't imagine that your entire investment is that volatile, but it can work for a lot of people.
Totally. Well, thanks for coming back on the podcast. It's nice to chat with you, and hopefully I'll see you.
When are you getting to town?
Let me check.
Yeah, let's catch up. I'll try this orchestra thing, or let me know if you've got any time, actual days, that you're not busy.